Hello everybody, my name is Morgan Gard and this is your pack preview for day one of the Grace College Classic Tournament. Our Red Wolves have traveled to northern Indiana to take on their first game. And sitting with me today is Coach Niekamp. So hello Coach, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Just great. This is your second time at the Grace Tournament. What makes you go to this one?
It's a great tournament for us to start out at. It has great competition. It's not a super long trip, so it's a great one for our newcomers to get their feet wet. They have great facilities there, and they're always super hospitable, so we love going to this tournament.
I see why.
Yep.
Okay, you're one of three returning on the first day, IU, Kokomo, and Grace. You've seen them before. Is this experience going to help you for day one?
I think it'll help us. Every team kind of comes out different at the beginning of the year. You know, we add a few girls, we lose a few girls. So I think having seen them last year at the same tournament, it's going to help us. But, you know, we're ready for whatever comes our way.
Good. Great to hear that. Grace also is your first game today, and they have a new coach. Do you think that's going to change your expectations of them this year?
You know, they were so quick last year with their offense, and that's what really got us when we played them. And I kind of expect the same thing out of them. They have a lot of returners, so I think they're going to run a quick offense, great ball control, and I expect to see the same things out of them.
And you don't think their new coach is going to affect how they play at all, or do you think she's just going to smooth transition in?
You know, every coach brings with them a new type of culture, so I guess we'll see whenever we get out there.
Okay, good. And your sister school, our sister school, and fellow KIAC rival, IU Kokomo, is going to be there. You played them last year twice, and you're going to play them again in October. Do you see this as a preview for when you play them?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it was kind of interesting last year when we came out to play them because it was our first conference match of the year, although it didn't count, but our first matchup against them, and our girls were ready to go. They were excited, and we won that game, except we came out the second game and kind of fell flat. So I think with the time span between the two matches, it'll be a good preview, but everybody's going to do a lot of growing between them.
Okay, good. That's what I think anybody likes to hear, especially us, and hopefully IU Kokomo doesn't grow much. But speaking of a little bit of experience, Mallory Livingston, our junior from last year who's returned for her senior year, huge asset last year. What are your expectations for her as a senior?
Absolutely. You know, Mal is just going to come out firing this year. You know, she was named All-American last year. She's ready to do it again. She's absolutely prepared for this year, academically and athletically. So I see her coming out being a great leader for us this year. You know, kind of doing a repeat of last year, but with a different team.
Okay, good. And another returner is Morgan Steinbrenner. She's one of your tallest and was first in blocks, second in block assists. I'm sure you have big plans for her as well.
Absolutely. You know, the greatest thing about Morgan is she brings such an energy to the court. And this year, I think she has that edge because she's more comfortable in her position. She has the energy coming, so she's going to be a great leader in the middle for us. Yeah,
Morgan was in a class with me, and she was ecstatic all the time, always
Absolutely.
Happy and energetic, and that's good to have on the court.
Mm-hmm.
Lastly, our two sophomores, Bailey Gates and Madison Yoder, are your returnees from last year as well. Huge contributors as freshmen. Do you see them being just as big their sophomore year?
Yeah, it was great spending the spring with them. They really developed even more. Bailey, we're not sure where we're going to put her this year. She might be in the middle, she might be on the outside. So it's going to be really interesting with her, and we're really excited for that. And Yoder is just going to be another fireball on the court this year in that libero position. So we're really excited to see what they do this year.
She was one of my favorites to watch. Always watching her do somersaults out on the court. I was like, this girl is definitely a gymnast or something crazy. But
Yep.
That's interesting that Bailey has a different position, or you're going to put her in different positions?
Yeah, she played outside and middle in high school. She kind of favors the outside a little bit more, and we brought in another middle this year, so we might be able to move her to the outside and get her some looks out there.
Okay, well, that's great to hear, Coach, and thank you so much for stopping by.
Absolutely.
And I hope your day one goes great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm Morgan Gard, and we're going to paddle this one over Winona Lake to our live commentators at the Grace College Classic Tournament.
Hello everyone once again, and welcome to IU East Red Wolves Volleyball on the Red Wolves Sports Network. It's that time once again. Thanks for joining us. I'm Caleb Gillock, along with the IU East Sports Information Director and Assistant Athletic Director Kyle Wright. It's time for volleyball once again, and looks like here at the Manahan Orthopedic Capital Center. They are ready for the national anthem. So we'll take a quick break and come back right here on the Red Wolves Sports Network.
This is where a busy mom can work toward a bachelor's degree from a top national university during softball practice. It's where a service member can continue his college studies from anywhere in the world, and where you'll benefit from one of the country's most effectively delivered online programs.
Woohoo!
So, if you've ever wondered if a college education is really worth it, this is where you'll see that it is. This is Indiana University East Online.
Hello, I'm Caleb Gillock, the host of Inside IUE Sports, a show where we talk with coaches, players, and other guests about what's happening with IUE's athletics.
In the top 100 high school seniors.
Last year we were fortunate enough to do a variety of things on the track and then off to be able to be considered.
Make sure to join us on Friday nights at 8:30 p.m. on WETV Channel 20.
My husband Larry came to Reed because he was in respiratory distress, and he came in through the emergency room and almost dying. The ethic of camaraderie and teamwork and customer service was extraordinary. After a few weeks of care with the fantastic staff in the medical, the CCU, the rehab departments, everywhere, he came home to me in one piece and ready to start the next stage of his life. We absolutely believe that Reed Hospital and the people here saved his life.
What the NAIA has figured out through all their character and leadership programs is let's develop these players as men and women of character, and by doing so, these players will ultimately reach their ceiling.
We felt the best way to change human behavior was not necessarily to always be on people's backs, but rather it was to catch them doing something right and to reinforce it.
I go back to J.C. Watt's definition of character that he was taught by his grandmother when he was a little boy. He said, character is doing the right thing when nobody's looking.
And welcome back to Winona Lake, Indiana. We are here at Grace College for the Grace College Classic. Kyle, there's 4 teams out on the floor right now, and the competition here this weekend is going to be very competitive. What do you expect to see out of these 4 teams out here right now?
Oh, I think that's the beauty of opening day is you really don't know what to expect, especially volleyball. Very rarely do you have your entire team, your entire rotation back. So no matter how much experience you got, you're going to have a few people in new spots that you're going to want to see how they do. And in the case of IU East, we've had a couple preseason scrimmages and things, but you just don't know for sure until the ball goes up and the matches start. So that's kind of the beauty of opening day. Maybe the nerve-wracking part is you kind of have to expect the unexpected.
All right, well, let's take a look at these 2 teams. First off, we'll start with IU East, who was coming off of a 20-13 season last fall, and it was the program's 6th consecutive 20-win season. Red Wolves went 2-2 here at the Grace College Classic last year with the wins against Goshen College and IU Kokomo, who the Red Wolves will see Kokomo tomorrow. Also, IU East is 3-2 all-time against Grace. Grace went 30-12 last season and advanced to the National Christian College Athletic Association Tournament semifinals. The Lancers are in their first season under a new head coach named Katie Van Hofwagen. Grace Woolsey, a 6'1 junior middle hitter, was an all-conference honoree and ranked 2nd in the nation in blocks in the 2014 season. So definitely we'll see some competition here this weekend. IU East has had success in this tournament in the past after winning the tournament 3 years in a row, 2009, 2010, 2011. There's really a lot to be said about this tournament because 5 of the 6 teams in the 2015 Grace College Classic field won at least 20 matches last season. So it looks like we're ready to go down here on the floor. The officials making sure everyone who is in the lineup in the rotation is ready to go. Grace College will serve to begin with here over on court number 1, and it's going to be served by the Lancers number 1. That's Lakin Cheney. Ball set up, and Livingston will get the block over there on the front row. The first point of the set will go to the Red Wolves. 1-0 lead for IU East here in the first set.
And very appropriate for Mallory Livingston, the returning All-American, to produce the first point of the season for the Red Wolves.
Sydney Durham serves for the Red Wolves into the Lancers back row. And this one's going to be into the net. It'll be a 2-0 lead now for the Red Wolves. IU East with a young team this year. 9 newcomers seeing their debut here this weekend. Another serve from Durham. This one's going to go long. It'll be a service error on the Red Wolves. Gives a point to the Lancers, 2-1. Even with 9 newcomers this season, from what we've seen so far, we've got quite the team to be able to pick up right where we left off last year.
That's the hope for returnees. 9 newcomers. A couple of them actually transferred in at semester last year, so they were able to do spring workouts with the rest of the team. So really, even though we say nine newcomers, there are really 6 returnees, as you saw one of them, Morgan Steinbrenner, with the kill there. So, and then, of course, conditioning in July, practices all throughout August. So a new team, but they're certainly not strangers to each other. They've been playing together, some of them since March, and all of them for sure conditioning since July.
3-1 lead for the Red Wolves. And over to Madison Yoder, set by Ketchum. Yoder with the dig, set by Ketchum once again, and it's going to be a point for the Red Wolves off the kill. It'll be a 4-1 lead for IU East.
And you mentioned pickup where left off. IU East 20-13 overall, won 16 of the last 20 matches last year, so really finished with a flourish. So really hoping to pick up where left off at that point last year.
Abby Ketchum just served for the Red Wolves, a freshman from Perry Meridian High School over in Indianapolis. Ball set by Livingston. Here's Steinbrenner, and that's going to be a kill. That's actually Melissa Bedell with the kill for the Red Wolves, giving the Red Wolves a 5-1 lead over Grace College. Ketchum back to serve for the Red Wolves. Serve crosses the net. Lancers, they will get a kill inbounds. Kill was by number 15, Sierra Smith, a 6'2 sophomore from Millersburg, Indiana, went to Fairfield High School. Now a 5-2 lead for the Red Wolves. There's the serve from Grace College. The server for the Lancers right now is Tori Bontrager. And that's going to be a point to the Red Wolves, 6-2. A great start right now for the Red Wolves for the first regular match of the season. That's going to put Mallory Livingston, the only senior on the roster, back to serve for IU East. Service error, the point will go to the Lancers. 6-3 lead still for IU East. And that's going to bring Annie Salazar into the game for the Lancers to serve. Salazar is a 5'6 defensive specialist from Bakersfield, California. Set by Ketchum. Grace with the attack, and it's going to be a point to the Red Wolves off of 2 hits, and that makes it 7-3.
If you watched IU East last year, you may have noticed Bailey Gates on the outside on that time. Was a middle all last year. Bailey was outside pretty much all through high school. More depth this year, able to get her back to her natural position.
And there's a kill by number 20. That's Grace Woolsey, the 6'1 middle hitter that we talked about earlier. Into Snyder over in Fort Wayne. Woolsey was a all-conference honoree and ranked 2nd in the nation in blocks in the 2014 season. Here's the serve from Kaylee Teal. And that's going to be a point to the Red Wolves after it goes out of bounds, 8-4. Bella Pavey, the 5'3 freshman out of Liberty, Indiana, comes in to serve for the Red Wolves. And now a 4-point lead in the first set. Back to Yoder. Set by Pavey. Attacked by Ketchum and over into the Lancer front row. Livingston was able to get the dig. Set by Pavey. Gates tried to get the kill, but it's going to be a point to the Lancers after it goes off the net. Still a 3-point lead for the Red Wolves, 8-5 in the first set. And back to serve right now for Grace College is their libero. That's Sarah Miller. 5'5 sophomore from Fort Wayne, went to Blackhawk Christian. And it's going to be a point to the Red Wolves. Once again, 9-5. And it looks like Bailey Gates goes back to serve for her first time in the set. Bailey Gates out of Winchester. There's Madison Yoder with the dig. Catch him with the attack. Got in the Lance front row. Goes back and off the hands of Bella Pavey. And that'll be a point to the Lancers, 9-6 here in the first set. Grace College will bring Sierra Smith back into the game. And here's the serve from Lakin Cheney. Livingston gets across the net, gets the dig there that time. Ketchum gets the ball across. Back to Yoder in the back row. Set by Pavey. And a kill by Mallory Livingston. We'll make it 10-6.
That one, I think, is going to make the highlight reel. Say, had an open court and just authoritatively put that one down.
Mallory Livingston had quite an impressive season last year when it came to kills. Hit the 1,000 mark for her college career. She also had 1,000 in high school.
Say, if she has what I would consider a normal season, she'll finish her IU East career second on the all-time kills list behind Breezy Street. If by chance she passes Breezy, that probably means we're going to win the national championship because she'll have to have just a massive average to accomplish that. But Mallory well past 1,000 and looking to really add to that total this year.
Here's the serve from Megan Johnson. Still a 3-point lead for the Red Wolves. Dig by Livingston. And blocked up front by Ketchum. Going to go out of bounds. That'll be a point to the Red Wolves, 11-4, or 11-7, a 4-point lead here in the first set. And coming in for the Red Wolves is number 11, Melissa Bedell. She's a 5'8 freshman from Greenfield, went to Eastern Hancock High School. And run to the back row, and that's going to be off the hands of Hannah Best and goes out of bounds. 11-8 here in the first set. Neither team has played a regular season match yet this season. In fact, the only team in the tournament who has is IU Kokomo. That serve will be an ace for the Lancers. Makes it 11-9, only a 2-point lead now for the Red Wolves. And that one does go out of bounds. It'll be a point to the Red Wolves off the service error. And it's now 12-9. And Mallory Livingston, the psychology major, just served for the Red Wolves. Over to Madison Yoder. Dig by Ketchum. And blocked up front by the Lancers. And this one's going to go out of bounds off of the Red Wolves. A point to Grace College, 12-10. And that's going to bring Annie Salazar back to serve for the Lancers once again. Communicating with her teammates over here on the sideline. Over to Madison Yoder. Set by Ketchum. And looks like Bedell. They got it across that time for the Red Wolves. And it'll be a point to IU East. 13-10, a 3-point lead. You're about halfway through the first set. That brings Madison Yoder, the sophomore from Ben Davis High School. A point to Grace that time. It'll make it 13-11. Looks like the Lancer server will be Kaylee Teal out of Warsaw. Tippecanoe Valley High School is where she went. A 5'8 defensive specialist, an outside hitter on the Grace College roster, and a kill there for the Red Wolves makes it 14-11. Bella Pavey will go back once again to serve for IU East. Here's the serve from Pavey. Go over into the back row off of Teal. Lancers able to keep it alive. Set by Livingston. Set by Pavey. And there's back over to Grace College. The attack by number 3, Megan Johnson. And it's going to be net violation there on Bailey Gates, it looked like. 14-12 in the first set. Sarah Miller back to serve for Grace College. So it goes into the back row to Mallory Livingston. The attack by Abby Ketchum. And a block there off the Red Wolves will go out of bounds. So the point will go to Grace College, now down to a 1-point game, 14-13 here in the first set. Red Wolves still on top.
And for those of you watching at home, I know you're getting a few fits and starts on your video. Grace was kind enough to provide us with a wired connection, but unable to. Basically, we had some password problems, so we're running off of a wireless internet. Hopefully, I know you're going to miss a few points, but hopefully enough to keep you abreast of what's going on here today.
All right, and Grace College ties it up at 14 here in the first set, and Coach Abby Niekamp wants to take a timeout. We'll take a timeout here as well on the Red Wolves Sports Network.
Dylan Newman had a terrible dislocated shoulder after a bad dirt bike accident. The long-term solution, surgery and intense rehab.
I trusted Reed Orthopedics because they had already fixed my ankle. And within 4 months of my surgery, Dr. Miller and my Reed therapist, April, helped me to regain my motion and most of my strength. Thanks to Reed Ortho, I can get back to what I love. It's all about trust. Right, Dr. Miller?
Right here at Reed.
Right here in Richmond.
And welcome back to IU East Red Wolves Volleyball on the Red Wolves Sports Network. The Red Wolves were up by about 3 here in the first set, and Grace College able to work their way back and tie it up at 14.
So for what we did some talking to some Grace folks beforehand, IU East has had 11 preseason sets as far as scrimmages and exhibition games. Grace, from what we understand, this was their first time on the court this year. As you see, the ace for the Lancers puts them ahead for the first time, but probably a few first official play of the season jitters early on for Grace that they've probably worked themselves out of that. So let's see if IU East can respond, raise its level of play.
Sarah Miller still serving for Grace College. There's the set by Pavey and the attack by Durham. The front row's having to work up at the net quite a bit in this matchup, and that's going to be 2 hits. And a point to the Red Wolves, ties it up at 15 as Bailey Gates will go back to serve for IU East. As of last year, Bailey was undecided on her major. And this will be 2 hits off of Grace College once again, giving another point to the Red Wolves, puts them back on top 16-15. Here's the serve from Bailey Gates. Over into the Lancer back row. Set by Cheney. And the attack by Johnson. And this will be a point off of 2 hits on the Red Wolves. Ties it up at 16 after giving a point to Grace College. Waiting on the serve from Grace. Cheney, the server, goes over to Madison Yoder in the back row. There was Livingston with the attack. And that's going to be 4 hits called on the Red Wolves, giving the Lancers a 17-16 lead here in the first set. Cheney with the serve. Here's Livingston once again. This is going to be out of bounds. And a point to the Red Wolves, tying it up at 17.
Well, now Mallory's put one in the bleachers everywhere we've gone in this short season. I was standing behind the baseline taking pictures at a scrimmage Tuesday at Indiana Wesleyan. She managed to blast a kill. And this thing, I did the math, I had to go about 120 feet, got caught in the bleachers there, and then gets that one caught on the side bleachers off the hands of the Grace player.
Sydney Durham, the 6'1 sophomore from Noblesville, who went to South Florida State, was the server for IU East. Grace unable to keep control of this one, giving the 1-point lead back to the Red Wolves, 18-17. Here's the serve from Durham. Over into the back row of the Lancers. And this is going to be, looks like Pavey with the dig. No, that was Hannah Best with the dig. And that's going to be a point to Grace College. Ties it up at 18.
So the Red Wolves saw 3 Red Wolves standing on the sideline, so they assumed, okay, if it lands to our right, then we're in good shape. But basically the very edge of the ball caught the very edge of the line for a point for Grace.
Ketchum with the attack, and it's going to be inbounds with the kill. 19-18, the Red Wolves with the lead here in the first set. There's the attack by number 15. That's Sierra Smith, goes out of bounds off of the Red Wolves and ties it up at 19. All tied up at 19 here in the first set against the Grace College Lancers. That time serving for Grace was Tori Bontrager. And another point to the Lancers after it goes out of bounds, makes it 20-19. There's the serve from Bontrager. Goes out of bounds off of the hands of Hannah Best. And gives the largest lead for Grace College, 21-19. And another timeout taken. 21-19, Grace College has the lead here in the first set. We'll take a quick break and be right back here on the Red Wolves Sports Network.
I'm Dr. Ganesh Ramachandran, the region's only hand specialist at Reed Orthopedic Center. Patients love how easy it is having everything under one roof and how easy it is to get here. Right here at Reed Orthopedic Center, right here in Richmond.
And welcome back to IU East Volleyball on the Red Wolves Sports Network. Right now a 21-19 lead for Grace College here in the first set. It's their largest lead of the match so far. Largest lead in the match was by the Red Wolves when they were up by Flaw Valley High School. IU East 5-1. There's the serve from Sydney Durham. Over into the back row. Cheney with the dig, and a block up front makes it 6-1. Yoder and Gates kind of double teamed it there to get it back across with the dig, and that'll be a point to IU East off of the illegal lift. 7-3.
If you're IU East, again, you had the early lead in set one. It got away. It was 6-1. Grace runs off a couple. You don't want to let Grace get on a run here. You want to try to preserve that 3-point lead and see if you can push it to 5, maybe even more than 5 as we get to the later stages of the set.
The attack there by number 20. Grace Woolsey goes out of bounds, and it'll be a point to IU East, 8-3, now up to a 5-point lead. Abby Ketchum serving for IU East. Here's the serve. Goes over into Grace back row. And nice attack there by Sierra Smith. And Abby Ketchum able to get the dig. Kept alive right now by Grace College, and a kill by the Lancers. That kill was by Kaylee Teal. And it's an 8-4 game here in the second set. Salazar comes in to serve for the Lancers. And here's the serve from Salazar. This one's going to stay just in bounds. Bailey Gates thought about it and then hesitated, as it was really close there to the sideline that time. Lead's now been cut to 3 by the Lancers, 8-5. Here's Livingston with the attack, and it's blocked up front by number 20, Grace Woolsey. And down to a 2-point game, 8-6. Salazar continuing to serve for the Lancers. Here's the serve. Into the back row to Bailey Gates, set by Ketchum. Fidel up front. Ketchum with the set once again, and Valerie Livingston able to get it over. 9-6, back up to a 3-point lead for IU East. Livingston now serving for the Red Wolves. And Red Wolves able to keep the ball alive. Mallory Livingston with the dig and got it across the net. Dig by Ketchum. Also by Yoder. Over into the Lancers back row to Johnson. And it's going to be 4 hits on the Lancers. Makes it 10-6. A 4-point lead here for the Red Wolves. Here's Mallory Livingston with the serve. Goes back to Miller. And the kill by Woolsey. Now it's 10-7 in the second set. 1-0 lead in the match for the Lancers. Here's the serve from Teal. And Steinbrenner with the attack, but it's going to be out of bounds. 10-8. Teal still back to serve for the Lancers. Gates able to get it. And another kill by Grace Woolsey, finally starting to heat up here in the second set. Down to a 1-point game, 10-9. The point actually goes to the Red Wolves. I didn't see what the
I sure missed that
was.
as well. Someone must have hit the net. That's the only thing I can think of. Otherwise, it looked like a pretty clear Grace point, but may have caught the net on the follow-through.
And this will be a point to the Lancers after Mallory Livingston just short of getting over to the ball. 11-9. And the Lancer libero, Sarah Miller, back to serve now for the Grace College Lancers. Set by Ketchum. Durham gets it over. There's Livingston, and that's going to be a point to Grace College off of 2 hits. Still a 1-point lead for the Red Wolves, 11-10 here in the second set. Ball goes over to Mallory Livingston, set by Ketchum. And gets the ball across. There's Gates. This one goes long, out of bounds, and we're all tied up at 11. Sarah Miller continuing to serve out of Fort Wayne. 5'5" sophomore for Grace College. And that'll be a kill for Sydney Durham, 12-11. Bella Pavey coming back into the game for the Red Wolves. She'll go back to serve for IU East. And this serve will be a service error after it goes long out of bounds and ties it up at 12. Lakin Cheney, the 5'7" sophomore setter out of Bluffton, serving for Grace College. There'll be a point to the Red Wolves after some contact there. And not able to get the ball over the net. 13-12, a 1-point advantage for IU East. Here's the serve from Bailey Gates. Goes into the back row, a dig by Teal. Blocked up front, and it'll be a point to Grace College. Ties it up at 13. Really even match for what we've seen so far today.
It is. It's a little frustrating from the IU East standpoint because they've been the one to jump out in front in each set. So because of that, you feel like if you're an IU East fan that you should be holding on to that lead. But, yeah, you are correct. Grace is caught up, and it has been pretty even throughout both sets.
Now 1-point lead for Grace. 14-13. Here's Livingston with the attack. Goes over to the back row. Dug by Johnson. This will be out of bounds off of an IU East player, and a 2-point lead now for the Lancers makes it 15-13, and a timeout taken down on the floor. So Grace College has the 1-0 lead in the match, 15-13 lead here in the second set. Be right back with more IU East volleyball right here on the Red Wolves Sports Network. Hello, I'm Caleb Gillock, the host of Inside IUE Sports, a show where we talk with coaches, players, and other guests about what's happening with IUE's athletics.
In the top 100 high school seniors.
Last year we were fortunate enough to do a variety of things on the track and then off to be able to be considered.
Make sure to join us on Friday nights at 8:30 p.m. on WETV Channel 20. And welcome back to IU East Volleyball on the Red Wolves Sports Network. Grace College has the 1-0 lead in the match and a 15-13 lead here in the second set. Taking a look over at court number 2, IU Kokomo has a 20-16 lead over St. Ambrose.
And they did win the first set, so they're on the verge of being up 2-0.
All right. Here's the serve from Megan Johnson from Grace College. Set by Pavey. Ketchum with the attack. Kept alive by the Lancers in the back row. Madison Yoder with the dig. Here's Ketchum, blocked up front by Kaylee Teal. And now a 3-point lead for the Lancers, 16-13. Here's the serve from Johnson, over to Yoder. Set by Pavey. Here's Durham with the attack. Blocked up front, kept alive by the Red Wolves. Here's Livingston. Blocked once again by the Lancers. And 2 hits called on IU East. Now a 4-point advantage for Grace College. 17-13 here in the second set. Here's the serve from Megan Johnson. Set by Livingston and Pavey. Right over into the back row, and that is going to be a point to the Lancers. Looked like a close call there by the sideline, but the official ruling is a point to Grace College that the ball was inbounds.
So they've done some studies on this type of thing where essentially a call can be influenced by in that case, the hustle of Grace. A human being can't help but kind of get into
And welcome back to IU East Volleyball on the Red Wolves Sports Network. Right now, the Grace College Lancers have a 2-0 lead in the Grace College Classic after winning the first set 25-23 and 25-17 over the IU East Red Wolves. So we're getting ready to go here with set number 3 out on the floor for IU East right now. It is going to be Durham, as well as Livingston, Best, Pavey, Ketchum, and Steinbrenner, but Madison Yoder waiting to sub in as the libero here for Sydney Durham. Like we said earlier, really it's been a pretty even matchup between these two teams, and like you said, it's at times almost a little frustrating because we get out with the lead, and then about halfway through we start getting the set back.
Yeah, Grace has really dominated the latter stages of both sets, and that's money time. If you're going to dominate a part, the end of the set's the time to do it, and Grace has done it in the first 2 sets. So let's see if the Red Wolves can turn the tables starting with this 3rd set.
Here is the serve from Cheney, goes over to Yoder in the back row. Here is Livingston with the kill, and the officials say no, it's out of bounds. It'll be a point to Grace College, 1-0 lead. Grace College server right now, Lakin Cheney's a 5'7" sophomore out of Bluffton, Indiana. There's Durham with the kill, and that'll tie it up 1-1 here in the 3rd set. And Durham will go back to serve for IU East. Durham, the tallest player listed on the IU East roster, stands at 6'1". And we'll go into the back row to Best. Here's Durham with the dig, gets it across the net. Blocked up front by Steinbrenner, and the Lancers able to keep it alive. Back over to Durham. And Steinbrenner up in the front row once again. It'll be a point to Grace College. And it'll be 2-1. Megan Johnson, a junior, 5'11" junior for Grace College, now serving for the Lancers. Hannah Best in the back row with the dig. Nice effort there by Steinbrenner up front, and a point to the Red Wolves. Ties it up at 2 after it goes out of bounds.
Nice quick offense for IU East, what the Red Wolves are hoping to see quite a bit of in these next few sets.
Brings up Abby Ketchum to serve for the Red Wolves. Here's the serve over on the right side of the floor. Blocked up front by Steinbrenner, kept alive by the Lancers. Livingston with the set, and it's going to point to the Red Wolves after 2 hits on Grace College, a 3-2 lead. The serve from Abby Ketchum. Set by Cheney. And gets it across to Yoder, set by Ketchum. And once again, Grace College able to keep it alive on their side of the net. And this will be out of bounds off of the Lancers. A 4-2 lead now for IU East. Here's the serve. Set by Cheney up on the Lancer front row, and this will be a point to Grace College after the Red Wolves weren't able to get it back over to the net. It'll be 4-3. One-point lead for IU East with Grace College serving. Here's the serve from Bontrager. Collision back there between Hannah Best and Madison Yoder. The out of bounds off of the Red Wolves, a point to the Lancers. There's the serve from Bontrager. And the line judge says that it was inbounds. 5-4, a 1-point lead here in the 3rd set for the Grace College Lancers. Here's the serve. Good effort by the Lancers to keep it alive. A dig by Yoder. Attacked by Livingston, and it's going to be a point to the Lancers. Now 6-4. Game 6-5. Mallory Livingston, the IU East server. Here's the serve from Mallory Livingston. This one goes over into the back corner to Teal. And this one's going to be kept alive by the Lancers libero, Sarah Miller. And a point to the Red Wolves. Ties it up at 6 here in the third set. Here's the serve from Mallory Livingston. Miller keeps it alive once again for Grace College. Set by Cheney. And Woolsey with the kill makes it 7-6 for the Lancers. So a 1-point advantage for Grace College here in the third set, but they also have the 2-0 advantage in the match as Annie Salazar comes back into the game to serve for the Lancers. And that's going to be a point to the Red Wolves. Ties it up at 7 here in the middle of the third set. Madison Yoder will go back to serve for IU East. Now here's the serve from Madison Yoder, the sophomore out of Indianapolis who went to Ben Davis High School, goes to Salazar with the dig. And nice effort there by Teal with the kill, and that will make it 8-7. The Lancers have the lead back here in the third set. Service error on Grace College will give a point to the Red Wolves. All tied up at 8. As Bella Pavey goes back to serve for IU East. Here's the serve from Pavey. Their largest lead in the set. The largest lead in the match so far has been by 3. Serve goes over to the right sideline. And that's going to be out of bounds off of Mallory Livingston. Nothing that she could do about that one, though. And the Red Wolves now only have a 1-point lead. Grace College will be serving.
One thing, we've seen a lot of balls drop on the line against IU East. One thing they did a really good job at Indiana Wesleyan, particularly Bailey Gates is who I know is doing. They'd be standing right on the line, so they knew if it went to the outside of where they were standing, they didn't need to touch it. Whereas today, typically if you're nervous, the feet are the first thing that maybe don't perform for you. Not that one that Mallory just dove for, but the one before, for example, Mallory wasn't quite to the line and had to kind of guess whether it was going to be in or out. So I wonder, probably maybe a few first-day nerves affecting that, because I assume they want them to get to the line because you know if you're standing there, if it's to your side, you don't need to worry about it. You know it's going to go out.
Nice block up there in front by Sydney Durham will give the Red Wolves a 1-point advantage, 11-10. Bailey Gates will go back to serve now for IU East. Here's the serve from Gates. Salazar with the dig, kept alive by the Red Wolves front row. And a good kill there by Mallory Livingston. And that puts the Red Wolves up by 2, 12-10 here in the third set. Waiting on the serve from Bailey Gates. Here it is. It's going to go over to Teal in the back row. Cheney with the dig, and Johnson on the attack. Set by Yoder, and once again, another set by Madison Yoder. Livingston able to get the ball across for IU East. And this will go out of bounds, a point to the Red Wolves. 13-10, up by 3. IU East has their largest lead of the afternoon, all tied up right here, 13-10. Got a 3-point lead back in the first set, and now they'll have their largest lead of the day, 14-10. And it looks like Grace College is going to take a timeout after trailing by 4. We'll take a quick timeout as well. We'll be right back with more Indiana University East volleyball right here on the Red Wolves Sports Network.
Dylan Newman had a terrible dislocated shoulder after a bad dirt bike accident. The long-term solution, surgery and intense rehab.
I trusted Reed Orthopedics because they had already fixed my ankle. And within 4 months of my surgery, Dr. Miller and my Reed therapist, April, helped me to regain my motion and most of my strength. Thanks to Reed Ortho, I can get back to what I love. It's all about trust. Right, Dr. Miller?
Right here at Reed.
Right here in Richmond.
Red Wolves have their largest lead of the day, 14-10 here in the third set, but they trail Grace College 2-0 in the match at the Grace College Classic. Once again, thanks for joining us here on the Red Wolves Sports Network. I'm Caleb Gillock along with Kyle Wright. Back to serve right now for the IU East Red Wolves is Bailey Gates. Bailey Gates is from Winchester, went to Winchester Community High School, and here is her serve. Going to be over to Salazar and the Grace College back row. Set and not able to be kept alive by the Red Wolves. It'll be 14-11, down to a 3-point lead for IU East as Lakin Cheney goes back to serve for the Grace College Lancers. Here's the serve from Cheney. It'll be a point to the Red Wolves after I think that what they call a held ball there on the serve.
I definitely don't know the technical term. I do know once the whistle's blown, you got to put it into play. So once the whistle blew, once she did that, that was the end of the point. As far as technical terms, your guess is better than mine.
And that's going to be out of bounds. And a point to the Lancers, 15-12. IU East still with the lead here in the third set. Over to Yoder in the back row. Ketchum with the kill. That one's going to be inbounds, excuse me.
I'd say a touch off Grace. The line judge signaled out, but then gave the signal for touch.
The 16-12, a 4-point lead for the Red Wolves as Missy Bedell comes back into the game for IU East. And back to serve right now is Ketchum. Here's her serve, goes over to Johnson. And it's going to be a point to the Lancers, 16-13. Don't forget that the Red Wolves will be playing IU Kokomo at approximately 5:30. Kokomo leads their match 2-0 and 18-16 in the third set. Nice effort there by Hannah Best in the back row. Morgan Steinbrenner got the ball across for IU East. This one's going to go out of bounds, so it'll be a point to IU East. Makes it 17-13. Livingston back to serve for IU East. Here's the serve. Over to Johnson. Back to Yoder, who sets the ball for Bedell. And this one's going to be kept alive by the Grace College libero. It'll be out of bounds and a point to IU East, 18-13. Here's the serve from Livingston. Set by Cheney. And this attack will go out of bounds as well. 19-13 lead for the Red Wolves after it goes out of bounds. So this one's starting to look up for the Red Wolves here in the third set.
So it in the first two sets, Grace kind of made its move in the middle of the set. This time it was IU East that made the move in the middle of the set. So they're in control. Grace starting to make a few more errors. IU East starting to clean it up a little bit. So let's, if you're a Red Wolf fan, let's hope both of those trends continue. Another mistake by Grace as you see that one off the post on the side of the net.
All right, it'll be a 7-point lead for the Red Wolves. Mallory Livingston, the senior, back to serve once again. And set by Teal. Over to the Red Wolves. Ketchum had a nice dig that time for the IU East to keep the ball alive. This will stay inbounds, a point to the Lancers, 20-14. And back to serve is Salazar for Grace College. Here's the serve from Annie Salazar. It goes to Livingston. Nice attack there by Madison Yoder. And it'll be a point to the Red Wolves after Grace College unable to return the ball. 21-14 here in the third set. Yoder back to serve for IU East. Over to the right corner to Salazar. And Yoder trying to make a good effort there for the Red Wolves, but unable to keep the ball in the air. Give a point to the Lancers, 21-15. Served by Teal, goes over to the Red Wolves' back row, and the libero, Sarah Miller, the ball goes off of her hands, out of bounds. It'll be 22-15 as Bella Pavey goes back to serve for IU East with a 7-point advantage. It goes out of bounds on the service error. It'll be a 6-point lead now for IU East. The serve by Miller. Kept alive by Yoder for the Red Wolves. Gates with the attack and the kill will make it 23-16. This one looking up for the Red Wolves after there's a timeout down on the floor. Red Wolves lead by 7 here in the third set, but trailed Grace College 2-0 in the match. We'll take a quick break as well. We'll be right back with more IU East volleyball right here on the IU East Red Wolves Sports Network.
This is where a busy mom can work toward a bachelor's degree from a top national university during softball practice. It's where a service member can continue his college studies from anywhere in the world, and where you'll benefit from one of the country's most effectively delivered online programs.
Woohoo!
So, if you've ever wondered if a college education is really worth it, this is where you'll see that it is. This is Indiana University East Online.
And welcome back to IU East Volleyball on the Red Wolves Sports Network. Here's the serve from Bailey Gates. And the attack there by Teal. It's going to go out of bounds off of the Red Wolves. And it's a 6-point game here in the third set, 23-17. Right now the momentum of the game has been in favor for the Red Wolves, but a point scored there by the Lancers cuts the lead down to 6 for the Red Wolves. And here's the serve from Cheney. Set by Pavey, and Livingston tried to get it over. The 2 hits called on the Red Wolves, and it'll be 23-18.
For your IU East, you want to close this set out as soon as possible. Not just to close the set out, but you want to keep momentum on your side. You don't want to hold on for dear life, but kind of go staggering into the fourth set. You want to close this out and have some momentum going into that fourth set to try to take this thing to 5.
Nice attack there by Abby Ketchum. And still volleying here. Livingston with the attack, and it's going to go out of bounds be credited with the kill. It'll be 24-18 and brings up set point. Sydney Durham will go back to serve for IU East. She will serve the set point. And nice block up front by Steinbrenner. And that brings the third set to a close. Red Wolves will take the win in the third set, 25-18. And now they trail Grace College 2-1 in the match. Kyle, tell us a little bit about what we've seen.
Well, I think if we had a stat sheet in front of us, we'd see kind of a few more good things and a few less mistakes for IU East. And Grace, particularly hitting, they hit several attacks deep that I don't really remember them doing a whole lot of that in the first couple sets, and a couple other mistakes on their end. And those first two sets were close, so a little shift in the numbers like that is certainly enough to push things in IU East's favor, and I think that's what we saw. Is that was enough more good and less bad for IU East, a little bit of the reverse for Grace, and it adds up to a set in the books for the Red Wolves.
All right, well, the Red Wolves win the third set 25-18 and trail the match 2-1. We'll be back here in a few minutes with more IU East Volleyball on the Red Wolves Sports Network.
What the NAIA has figured out through all their character and leadership programs is let's develop these players as men and women of character, and by doing so, these players will ultimately reach their ceiling.
To IU East Volleyball on the Red Wolves Sports Network. Right now, the Red Wolves trail 2-1 in the match against Grace College in the 2015 Grace College Classic after they won the third set 25-18. Grace College won the first and second set with scores of 25-23 and 25-17. And we're about ready to go here with set number 4. The officials out, making sure everyone's out on the floor in the proper order. And we should be ready to go here momentarily. Really, with the Red Wolves to have such a young team, not playing too bad right now.
Really cleaned things up, I thought, in the third set. To a certain extent, you can't force Grace to make mistakes, so we can't necessarily expect them to continue to make mistakes on their end. But if you're IU East, just to continue to make your play on your side of that cleaner and cleaner and cleaner, that'll lead to stronger attacks and less free points for Grace. We saw a step in the right direction in the third set, and see if they can do even better in the fourth.
Bailey Gates with the honors to be the first server in the fourth set. Nice effort there by Mega Johnson from Grace College. And this will be out of bounds, a point to the Lancers, 1-0. And that'll bring Hannah Best back into the game for the Red Wolves. Dig by Yoder, and she will have the attack there as well. Back over to Best, kept alive by Pavey. There's the attack by Livingston. And up front, Gervin Livingston unable to block, and that allows Grace College to have the 2-0 lead here early in the fourth set. Grace College leads the match 2-1. Same for IU Kokomo over on court number 2. Here's Abby Ketchum with the attack over to the back row to Sarah Miller. Miller, the libero in the black uniform for Grace College. Durham up front, set by Ketchum. Trying to get out of the way for Bella Pavey. Kept alive once again by Miller. Yoder with the set. Ketchum able to get a hand on the ball. Long rally here between the Lancers and the Red Wolves. And blocked up front by Mallory Livingston. Gives the Red Wolves their first point in the fourth set, 2-1.
I think that was the longest point of the match, or definitely one of them. So hopefully winning that will give the Red Wolves some momentum.
Sydney Durham goes back to serve for IU East. Here's the serve. This one is going to be a service error after it goes into the net. A 3-1 lead for the Lancers. The Red Wolves trail by 2. And this is going to be Bontrager back to serve once again for the Lancers. Abby Ketchum with the attack for IU East. And kept alive by the Red Wolves, but it's going to be a point to the Lancers. Bontrager will continue to serve for Grace. And here's the serve. Goes to Hannah Best in the back row with the dig. Set by Pavey. Livingston had the attack. Now here is a point for Grace College after Abby Ketchum unable to make the block. It'll be a 4-point lead now for Grace College, 5-1. Here's the serve from Bontrager. Set by Pavey, and Steinbrenner with the kill that time. It'll make it 5-2. Red Wolves down by 3 as Abby Ketchum goes back to serve for IU East. There's the serve over to Teal. Set by Ketchum. Here is Bedell. This one's going to go out of bounds, a point to the Red Wolves off of the attack from Sierra Smith. And the Red Wolves now down by 2, 5-3. Ketchum will continue to serve. Set by Abby Ketchum. Attacked by Livingston. It's going to go out of bounds off of Megan Johnson. And the Red Wolves step closer to tying it up. It's now 5-4. Grace College now only has a 1-point lead. Here's the serve from Abby Ketchum. It's going to be a little more shallow than some of the serves we've seen today. And a nice block up front by Morgan Steinbrenner ties it up at 5.
And nice recovery by IU East. They were down 5-1, and as we've seen, being up early doesn't necessarily mean anything, but at the same time, if you're IU East, you couldn't let it get away at that point either, so nice work to keep in contact early in this fourth set.
Set by Livingston and Ketchum to Bedell. This one's going to fall for the Lancers and give them back a 1-point advantage, 6-5. Going back for Grace College, Annie Salazar, 5'6" senior, to serve. And this one's going to be a service error. Ties it up at 6. Mallory Livingston will go back to serve for IU East. Salazar back over to the Red Wolves. This one's going to be tipped out of bounds off of IU East. 7-6. And back to serve right now for the Lancers, Kaylee Teal from Tippecanoe Valley High School. Here's the serve. Over to Madison Yoder with the dig, set by Ketchum. Steinbrenner with the kill. And that ties it back up once again here in the fourth set. 7-7.
So when the Red Wolves can get a quick swing on it, they're winning the point. Now, it's easier said than done, of course. Got to be perfect pass, got to be perfect set and perfect situation. But anytime the Red Wolves can run that quick offense like we just saw on that previous point, that's definitely going to be to their advantage.
Service error there for Madison Yoder. 1 point lead back to Grace College, 8-7. Here's the serve from Sarah Miller. Gates with the dig. Back over to Miller with the dig. Salazar, Cheney with the set. And another point to the Lancers, 9-7. Here's the serve from Miller. Goes over to Livingston in the back row at the dig. Set by Ketchum. And that's going to be a point to the Red Wolves. After the ball doesn't make it back over, 9-8. Red Wolves trail by 1. Here's the serve from Bella Pavey. There's the serve. And this one will be out of bounds, a point to the Red Wolves. Be all tied up at 9 here in the fourth set. Serve from the freshman out of Liberty, Indiana. And that's another point to IU East, who will take the 10-9 lead after it goes out of bounds. So the 5'9 freshman will continue to serve for the Red Wolves. And the serve goes long. I said 5'9. She's actually about 5'3.
5'3, yeah. If we can get her to 5'9, she'll be very dangerous, very effective as it is as a 5'3 setter. Tied up at 10 now.
The serve from Cheney. And Yoder with the dig.
I think they're going to say one of the Red Wolves' front row players happened to be touching the net when the serve was put into play. So kind of a free point for Grace.
Here's the serve by Cheney once again. This will be a service error point to IU East. And that ties it up at 11. I'm trying to see who is now serving. It's going to be Bailey Gates. And the attack there by number 15, that's Sierra Smith. It's going to be tipped out of play and a point to the Lancers, 12-11. Like we mentioned several times throughout our broadcast today, still just a very even match between these two teams.
It is, and again, just like the first two sets, it was Grace that would go on a run to take control at about this point. Third set, it was IU East that did. So if someone can get on a 3 or 4 point run right about that now, they'll be in very strong position to close out this fourth set.
That point looks like it's going to go to the Red Wolves, all tied up at 12. Cindy Durham back to serve for IU East. Here is Livingston. Kept alive by the Lancers. A lot of action on both sides of the net. And this will be out of bounds, a point to Grace College, 13-12. And we're now to that point where we've been in every set that one team or the other starts to pull away.
Yeah, this is a key time for both teams. Grace, I'm sure, wants to wrap this in 4. IU East obviously has no choice but to try to push this thing to 5. But this has been about where the breakaway has happened in each of the first 3 sets.
Ketchum gets it over for the Red Wolves. And kept alive by the Lancers. As 2 of them almost collide, but one calls it. And this is going to go out of bounds off of Sierra Smith, whose attack goes out of bounds over on the right side of the floor and ties it up at 13. Missy Bedell comes back into the game for IU East to give Bella Pavey a break. Abby Ketchum back to serve once more for IU East. Tied up at 13 here in the 4th set. Red Wolves trail the match 2-1 to the Grace College Lancers. Kept alive by Hannah Best. Smith with the dig for the Lancers, and it'll be back over to Bedell with the attack. Livingston with the dig. Here's Bedell once more. Kept alive by the Lancers once again. Another long rally here in the 4th set. Steinbrenner will be able to keep the ball in bounds, and that'll be a 14-13 lead now for the Red Wolves.
Nice job by IU East. Absorbed a couple of attacks by Grace. Sent over a couple attacks on our own that weren't as authoritative as maybe we would have preferred, but able to absorb the counters. Right. And then Morgan had plenty of options on that last ball that she was able to finish.
And there's a point to the Red Wolves off of 4 hits. 2-point lead, 15-13. Here's the serve. Set once again, and it's going to be 2 hits called on Grace College, a point to IU East, 16-13.
So we were probably 1 Red Wolf point away from a Lancer timeout, I would say.
Mm-hmm. And this one kept alive by the Red Wolves after playing it off the net, but Steinbrenner will hit it into the net, and it'll actually be called 4 hits. So it is now 16-14, a 2-point advantage for IU East here in the 4th set.
And even though that point didn't go IU East's way, that looked like a positive sign to me. Grace was probably getting the majority of those scramble points when they were doing all sorts of crazy things to get the ball over. IU East hadn't really done a lot of that to this point. So that means the feet are moving, that means the nervousness wearing off, and it didn't pay off that time, but some of those hustle plays are going to start to pay off for IU East. For a while, that was kind of exclusive property for Grace.
Ball kept alive there by Mallory Livingston. Into the Lancer back row, kept alive by Salazar. And a kill up front by number 10, Kaylee Teal. Makes it a 1-point set, 16-15. Salazar back to serve for the Lancers. Here's Livingston with the attack, and it's going to be a kill for the Red Wolves. 2-point lead, 17-15. A 2-point advantage for IU East here in the 4th set, trying to tie the match up. Grace College has the 2-1 lead. Here's the serve from Mallory Livingston. Goes into the back row to Miller. Here's Yoder with the set and Livingston with the attack. Kept alive by the Lancers once more. Nice dig by Bailey Gates. And here's Mallory Livingston back over to the Lancers. This one's going to be hit out of bounds by Woolsey. And it'll be 18-15 in favor of the Red Wolves. And here's going to be a timeout taken down on the floor IU East with a 3-point lead, 18-15 in the fourth set, and a 2-1, trailing 2-1 in the match to Grace College. We'll be right back with more IU East Red Wolves volleyball right here on the Red Wolves Sports Network. Hello, I'm Caleb Gillock, the host of Inside IUE Sports, a show where we talk with coaches, players, and other guests about what's happening with IUE's athletics.
In the top 100 high school seniors.
Last year we were fortunate enough to do a variety of things on the track and then off to be able to be considered.
Make sure to join us on Friday nights at 8:30 p.m. on WETV Channel 20. And welcome back to IU East Red Wolves volleyball right here on the Red Wolves Sports Network. Things starting to get excited here at the Grace College Classic. The Red Wolves trail Grace College right now 2-1, but have an 18-15 lead here in the fourth set. And we've talked about how it's been pretty much an even match all throughout. But about halfway through each set, one team starts to take over and pull away.
And IU East has done that in this set. IU East has really cleaned it up on its end. I mean, it's still not perfect, still not late season form by any stretch, but for a while it was just too many kind of errors and out-of-system situations to overcome. Now they've cleaned it up enough that they've, I don't want to jinx it, but had a lead throughout much of the last couple sets.
And that'll be tipped out of bounds off of the Red Wolves and give a point to the Lancers, 18-16. Taking a look over at court number 2, IU Kokomo has the 2-1 lead, but in the fourth set, St. Ambrose with a 20-14 lead, so they're trying to tie the match up over there on court number 2 as well. So it looks like maybe a lineup check going on over here for the Red Wolves.
Maybe a cut. It looks like they're going for the bandage, and it's on Mallory, who's someone we probably want in there. So obviously the blood safety rules that are in place for good reason, but want to make sure Mallory can stay out there. I have to say, I can't recall ever seeing this in volleyball, and I'm actually surprised it doesn't happen more often with all the sliding on the floor and very hard shots going against very exposed fists.
Yeah.
But of the many matches I've seen, I don't recall a whole lot of blood timeouts.
Yeah, I will say I've never really thought of that before, but now that you mention that, I mean, even in high school or college level, either one, I've never really seen a timeout for that.
So, seen a day of first for everything today.
All right, a 2-point advantage for the Red Wolves, 18-16. Grace College has possession of the ball, though. And it's set by Abby Ketchum. Nice attack there by Morgan Steinbrenner, kept alive by the Lancers. And back over off of Missy Bedell. Yoder with the dig. Here's Bedell once again with the attack. Kept alive by Salazar. Nice effort up in the front row by the Red Wolves. And it's not going to make it over. Point for the Red Wolves, 19-16. Three-point lead for IU East, 19-16 in the fourth set. Trail Grace College 2-1 right now in the match. And this will be out of bounds. Another point to IU East, 20-16, up by 4. IU East was down early in the match, 5-1, and now have the 20-16 lead here in the fourth set. And that's going to be blocked up front there by Sydney Durham. 21-16, 4 points away from closing the set out and going into the fifth set. Here's the serve from Madison Yoder. Good effort there by Mallory Livingston. Bedell back to Miller. Set by Cheney, blocked up front by the Red Wolves, kept alive by the Lancers. And that's going to be called out of bounds, a point to IU East. And it'll be 22-16. Here's the serve from Yoder. Over to Woolsey. Blocked up front once again, but it'll be out of bounds off of IU East. A point to the Lancers, 22-17.
If you're IU East, again, if Grace makes a great play, applaud and be happy, but this time no mistakes here. Really tighten up, no free points. Don't let Grace, if Grace is going to get some momentum going, make them earn it. Don't help them get some momentum at this stage of the set.
And that's going to be a point to the Lancers after going out of bounds off of Sydney Durham, 22-18. Another point to Grace College, 22-19, after being tipped out of bounds. Dig by Livingston. Here's Gates with the attack three. Blocked out of bounds. A point to the Red Wolves, 23-19. So the Red Wolves now will have the ball back and a chance to close things out here in the fourth set and tie the match up at 2. The dig by Salazar. And the attack by number 13, that's Bontrager. It'll be tipped out of bounds off the Red Wolves, 23-20. Cheney for the Lancers. And here's the serve. Go over to the back row to Madison Yoder with the dig, set by Pavey. Set by the Lancers Cheney, and a kill by Sierra Smith, a 6'2 sophomore from Millersburg, Indiana. Makes it 23-21. We'll keep it here during the timeout by IU East. Kyle, Grace starting to close in on us here a little bit. What do you think about what's going on?
I guess I'll play amateur psychologist a little bit here. I could be dead wrong because obviously I'm not inside any of their heads, but some theories here. I think Grace, in the third set, actually, they were so close to wrapping up the win in this first match of the year for them. I kind of wonder if the feet are so key. I was a tennis player myself. It looks to me like that would be important in volleyball as well, but it looked like their feet slowed down a little bit. Some balls went sailing on, some more mistakes that allowed IU East to get back in it. And now when IU East had such a big lead here in this fourth set, I think that helped Grace get kind of a nothing-to-lose approach, loosened them up a little bit. They're getting everything again, not making as many mistakes. I don't think IU East, they had a couple errors in serve receive, but they're going to have to win these 2 points. You can't count on Grace losing them. If you're IU East, you got to have clean pass, clean set, clean attack, and expect to win these next 2 points. Don't look for Grace to make a couple mistakes for you.
All right, taking a look over at court number 2. St. Ambrose just took the fourth set, 25-21. Tied up at 2 over there. They'll go into a fifth set. There's the dig by Livingston, set by Pavey. Attacked by Gates, and that's going to be...
That attack hit the net. I was hoping that they wouldn't notice, but that made it 4 hits for IU East.
1 point game as Cheney back to serve for the Lancers. Here's the serve. We'll go over to Yoder with the dig. Set by Pavey. Here's Gates. Back to Miller. And nice block up front by Sydney Durham, but it goes out of bounds, and that's going to tie it up at, it'll be 23-22, what they have on the official scoreboard here. I thought it was tied.
Yeah, I got there. They adjusted it as 23 all. IU East, whoever... Bailey made a smart play there. I wasn't in position to really rip that one, but someone's got to take a big swing here. Again, can't expect Grace to make mistakes for you. You're going to have to take these last 2 points.
Here's the serve from Cheney. Over into the back row. Kept alive by Bella Pavey with the dig. Set by Yoder. Here's Livingston. It's going to go over to Teal. Off the net and a point for the Red Wolves, 24-23. And that'll bring up set point opportunity for IU East.
And probably Bailey's going to serve it. That's who we'd probably want serving. School record for aces last year. And what I've seen in scrimmages is now not nearly as many errors, but still a lot of heat on the ball. Let's hope she can come up with one of those right now.
So it's going to go over into the back row, off the hands of Teal, way up in the air. Back over. Yoder with the dig. Here's Livingston. And that's going to go out of bounds off the hands of the Grace College Lancers and bring the fourth set to a close. IU East will win the fourth set 25-23. Kyle, tell us a little bit about it.
Whew! that's what I have to say about it. Just held on for dear life there. Ideally, you'd want to take a little more momentum into the fifth set, but Mallory Livingston, I believe she got credit for the last 2 kills on those last 2 points after it reached 23-all, and those were not from easy positions. One she had to hit from the back row, and the other from, I think, several feet off the net, and still able to make a play to get the Red Wolves into a fifth set. So now it all starts over. I mean, at this point, if I was a wagering man, I don't know if I would put money on this match. Obviously, I'm for IU East and hoping they can do it, but there's just been so many ebbs and flows and swings in this match that there's no telling who's going to come out in front. I will say the first 4 sets we've said if someone got up 5-1 or 6-1, no big deal, plenty of time. Not the case in this fifth set. Right. You definitely, in this case, want to be the one to get up to if someone can get an early lead when you're only going to 15, which is what happens in the fifth set. That's a huge advantage. So what we said about not worry if whatever happens early, that goes out the window now. You really do want to jump out to a quick lead if at all possible.
All right, well, all tied up 2 heading into the fifth set. IU East won the third and fourth set with scores of 25-18, 25-23. We're going to take a quick break right here on the Red Wolves Sports Network and be back in just a minute with more IU East Volleyball. And welcome back to IU East Volleyball on the Red Wolves Sports Network. What an exciting one this one has been. Grace College won the first 2 sets, 25-23 and 25-17. And the Red Wolves come around and fire right back, 25-18 and 25-23, hanging on there in the fourth set to take the win and tie it up to send this into a fifth set. But like we've talked, what's been about 11-12 point mark for each team in the previous sets before one starts to pull away. And it feels like you've got plenty of time, but not a lot of time in this one because it only goes to 15.
Yeah, sprint to the finish. You get down 2 or 3 points when you're only going to 15. It feels like a million. So whoever can get the early edge will obviously have an advantage. And again, I think it'll come down to who can play the cleans, which it always does, obviously. But earlier in the season, there just tend to be more mistakes than there would be later in the year. So whoever can keep the feet moving, kind of ignore the nerves that I'm sure you're feeling going into a fifth set in the first match of the year, and just no mistakes. Give yourself some opportunities to take some free swings. That's who's going to have an advantage here in this deciding set.
All right, Madison Yoder in for the Red Wolves. Out on the floor, Livingston, Yoder, Ketchum, Durham, Pavey, and Gates. Out on the floor right now for IU East. Gates will serve for the Red Wolves to start things off. Fifth set played to 15.
And for those maybe new watching, they'll switch sides when someone gets to 8. So they figure everyone will, if there is an advantage in one side of the court than the other, that'll even out by the end. So they'll switch sides at 8 points.
First play in the match, serve goes long. It'll give a point to the Grace College Lancers. And back to serve now for Grace College, Lakin Cheney, a 5'7" sophomore from Norwell High School. Yoder with the dig, and there's Durham. Her attack will go out of bounds. A point to the Lancers. A 2-0 start here for Grace College.
And again, 2 mistakes for IU East. If Grace beats you, fine, give them credit. But you just don't want to beat yourself at this point.
Here's the serve from Cheney. Livingston with the dig, set by Pavey. Ketchum with the attack, blocked up front by the Lancers. And a 3-0 lead here early in the 5th set. Here's the serve. It's going to go over to Hannah Best. Set by Pavey. Livingston with the kill. It'll be a point to the Lancers after it goes out of bounds. 4-0. So 4-0 start here for the Grace College Lancers in the 5th set. And that'll be off the hands of Madison Yoder. 5-0 start. Mike and Cheney continuing to serve for Grace College. Here's the 5-0 serve. And a kill there by, looked like number 13, Tori Bontrager. 6-0 start here for the Grace College Lancers. Here's the 6-0 serve. Yoder with the dig. Here is Livingston. It's going to be out of bounds off of Grace College and give the Red Wolves their first point in the 5th set, trailing by 5, 6-1, as Sydney Durham goes back to serve.
And if you're IU, you got to be thinking get 2 points every time you go back to serve. At this point, there's not enough time to trade side outs.
Here's the serve. Goes back to Miller. And that's going to be a kill there for the Lancers, 7-1. Off the kill by Sierra Smith. And Megan Johnson, the 5'11 outside hitter. That's a junior for Grace College, back to serve. Here's the set. Ketchum into the back row. It's going to be out of bounds. A point for IU East, 7-2. Still down by 5. You'd like to see 2 scored here by the Red Wolves.
Yeah, maybe get it. Again, there's going to be a side change at 8, so there's kind of a timeout opportunity there. Ideally, we'll run off 6 in a row and be the team to get to 8. If that doesn't happen, maybe at least get it to 8-4, 8-5, so you've got some momentum at that stoppage.
And that's going to stay in play or be tipped out of bounds off of the Red Wolves. Makes it 8-2, and both teams will now change sides. So, Kyle, what do the Red Wolves have to do now in order to get this done?
I don't have the stat sheet in front of me. Out of the 8 points, I got to believe at least 5, maybe even 6 of those weren't Grace kills. They were IU East mistakes. So at this point, got to tighten it up, airtight at this point, and then at that point, you'll give yourself some opportunities for some swings. But just can't give any freebies at this point.
Here's the serve from Bontrager. Set by Ketchum. And a point to the Lancers off of a held ball. And it's going to be a timeout taken. 9-2 lead for the Grace College Lancers. We'll take a quick timeout as well. Be right back with more IU East volleyball right here on the Red Wolf Sports Network.
This is where a busy mom can work toward a bachelor's degree from a top national university during softball practice. It's where a service member can continue his college studies from anywhere in the world, and where you'll benefit from one of the country's most effectively delivered online programs.
Woohoo!
So, if you've ever wondered if a college education is really worth it, this is where you'll see that it is. This is Indiana University East Online.
And welcome back to IU East Volleyball on the Red Wolves Sports Network. Here's the serve from Bontrager over into the Red Wolves side of the floor. Yoder have the dig. A 9-2 lead right now for Grace College, and 2 hits called on the Red Wolves will make it 10-2. So an 8-point lead. Here's the serve. And a kill there by Grace Woolsey, a 6'1" junior middle hitter from Fort Wayne Snyder. Makes it 11-2. Waiting on the Bontrager serve. Set by Ketchum. Here's Steinbrenner. This one's going to be another point to Grace College. 12-2. 10-point advantage for Grace College here in the fifth set. Only played to 15. Bell gets it across, and another point. The Lancers, it looks like they're going to redo the play.
Yeah, I think someone from both sides kind of hit the net at the same time. At first they said IU East, I guess maybe if we had a laser sensor type thing, we could know exactly who got there first. That's probably the fairest thing. Both sides got there. Just replay it.
Set by Ketchum. And a nice kill there by Mallory Livingston makes it 12-3. Livingston will now go back to serve for IU East. Trailing by 9 here in the fifth. And there's a kill by Sierra Smith. Gives them back a 10-point advantage, 13-3. So Annie Salazar coming in to try to close things out here for Grace College in the fifth set. Here's the serve from Salazar. Goes over to Livingston in the back row with the dig. And a point to Grace College, 14-3. And that'll bring up match point for the Grace College Lancers after the timeout. So we'll take a quick timeout as well. We'll be right back with the end of the fifth set on the Red Wolves Sports Network.
My husband Larry came to Reed because he was in respiratory distress, and he came in through the emergency room and almost dying. The ethic of camaraderie and teamwork and customer service was extraordinary. After a few weeks of care with the fantastic staff in the medical, the CCU, the rehab departments, everywhere, he came home to me in one piece and ready to start the next stage of his life. We absolutely believe that Reed Hospital and the people here saved.
And welcome back to IU East Volleyball on the Red Wolves Sports Network. 14-3 here in the fifth set. And Grace College has the ball. Here's the serve from Salazar. Over to Livingston with the dig, set by Ketchum. And the attack there by Bailey Gates. Salazar once again blocked by Steinbrenner. And this one's going to be kept alive by Madison Yoder. Great effort there by Yoder. Ketchum with the dig. Also Yoder with the dig. Back over to the Lancers. This one hangs on top of the net. It'll be a point to the Red Wolves. 14-4 after 4 hits. So Madison Yoder will go back to serve for IU East. Here's the serve. We'll go over to Miller. Deal with the attack. Kept alive by the Red Wolves and unable to get to that one. Brings it to a close. 15-4. So the Red Wolves will fall to Grace College in 5 sets, 3-2. Kyle, tell us a little bit about this first matchup of the season.
Well, focusing on the fifth set, when the Red Wolves look back at the stat sheet, I imagine about 10 of Grace's 15 points in that fifth set were IU East mistakes, not necessarily actual errors, but even things like an overpass on the serve return that allowed Grace to take a free, basically unopposed swing at it. That's what, and that happens early in the season. You hope it doesn't happen to you, but that tends to be where the early season matches are determined, is who makes the mistakes. So I think what we're going to be seeing here in about a half hour, IU East against IU Kokomo over on court 2, is two very ticked off teams, because IU Kokomo just lost a 2-set lead on their court. IU East just rallied from 2 sets only to see it come up for naught. So at this point, the key, again, you want to clean up your mistakes, and when you do that, that tends to give you more opportunities to hit the ball. So that'll be, I presume, the Red Wolves' focus going into the next match.
All right, and both teams out there on the floor doing a post-game prayer. Were we going to try to do a post-game interview with Coach Niekamp?
If it had been a 3-set match, we would have, but since they're going to need to play in 27 minutes, we probably better let her get right on to the warm-up for the next match.
That works out great. So the Red Wolves fall to Grace College 3-2 in 5 sets. Grace won the first, second, and fifth sets. The scores are 25-23, 25-17, and 15-4. I'm Caleb Gillock, along with Cal Wright. Thanks for watching. Be sure to tune in.